Hey, am I on? I'm not going to be swishy today, am I? Hey, everybody. I'm trying to get a little, let's see, I'll give you a little taste of Connecticut foliage. We haven't really, there's a sort of flaming bush over there. We don't really have too much yet. This is the foliage. This is the foliage in Connecticut. The north central part of Connecticut. This is what we got. It's starting to turn a little bit. Just thought I'd give you a little 1st of October here perspective. Over here by the school. Here's the school. Big old Gen X on the playground here. I'm that's sort of starting to sink in, you know. I'm still on the playground. There I am, 57 years old, and I'm on the play. Look what I found today. Remember these guys? Run! Ah! Woo! Remember these? They still make the same sound. Look at this playground ball. Look at that. It was just lying there waiting for me. My oldest son plays volleyball. He's about 6'2". I'm going to leave that over there while I do my report. I'm like a little kid, you know. I get out here. Oh, I got a ball. I'm going to play with that later. Anyway, I'm out here about dusk. I says, I'm just, you know, it's kind of nice here. I got a fence to lean on, and nobody's going to bother me. We got some foliage. It's not quite dark yet, so I got my hat on here. Got my hat today. Yeah, it's a nice day. It's beautiful, and it was sunny. Nice and, you know, starting to get a little crisp, but you could still wear a t-shirt. And, yeah, nice. Leslie Plazz, Zazoo Plazz here for my weekly report, October 1st, 2023. I've got this, I guess, this song in my head today. You know how I wanted to go on about how I hate it when they remake songs, but, you know, sometimes they're better. Like, if you didn't remember the original song, or it was like, you know, a song that was around when you were a baby that you don't remember the first version, all you know is the second version. And in this case, but in the case of a lot of our Gen X songs, you know, the remake did better in some ways than the original. Like, I don't know, it's cooler. You know, sometimes that happens. Like, somebody will release a song and then somebody else will cover it, and it'll just, you know, like their voice is better suited to it, you know? And then sometimes they take a couple of an artist's songs, right, and throw them together. So that's the case today with the song. And usually I have to read through all the readings, you know, before it occurs to me what the song should be. I was on the responsorial song today, and it jumped out, hit me in the face. So yeah, that's the case today. 26 Sunday in ordinary time. So today's, you know, and I said, oh, it's a perfect song. It's perfect. And it's a song that is a medley, you know, of 2 songs by the same artist. So I'll get to it in a minute. And it's perfect because it honors an artist who passed away this past week in 2003. So I'm going to get to that. One of my favorite artists. But yeah, you know, and it's perfect, and it just says everything I want to say. You know, it's been an interesting week. Oh, yeah, doggy update. You know, remember I said that, you know, my dog Dee Dee, she's Dee Dee in the book, Divine Diva Dog. She had this throat thing, you know, where she was rasping because she's a lab. And they get this thing, you know, when they're, I guess they can get it anytime, but, you know, she's 13. She had this thing with her larynx, you know, where the air wasn't getting in, and they had to go in this week we took her to a vet hospital, and a very good one here in Connecticut. And they just knew what to do, and they gave her to put her under, and they did it. And she spent a night. She spent one night in the doggy hospital, and then she came home, and she's now like, she was out on the deck today. And normally she'd come in and she'd be like, and she came in and she was, if you have a dog and they're out in the sun on a day like this, they come in and like, that's what she was doing. She was doing the, and you could see her, the air coming in and her sides kind of, expanding. And it was awesome. She's still eating some soft food because if some food gets in there, she could get pneumonia, and that could really be serious. You don't want that. So, we kind of have to be careful in giving her soft food for a while. But if anybody, I can tell you, in our experience, it worked out great. Every dog is different. But, she's otherwise healthy, so we're blessed. We've been blessed. So it's always nice to get, happy news. I'm going to lead with that today. Because, there's so many people out there going, and there's always the trap when you're somebody like me who, I love to look at nostalgia. I love to talk about, things I've done, things we've experienced, history. I'm fascinated. Oh, I can't delve enough. But it's with an attitude of service where I'm saying, how can we, take the best of when we came in here, because when you're born, you're closest to your source, the source, right, of all life, right? You come in, and then as you go in life, you move away from that, right? And babies, you just look at the joy in babies, playing and being just being, right? Looking at their toes. It's so easy to make a baby laugh, isn't it? Just make funny faces, hide and seek. Hell, that's how you make me laugh. But anyway, I've never grown up, never planned to. But yeah, but God's looking to us. Spirit, source, the universe is looking to us to maintain that childlike wonder, so that every day is not the same old. It's to harness that spirit. What were the things you liked about that? Those days. What was pure in your life? And chances are that's what you need to harness and bring back here and go forward with it, right? So I think as I go along, I'm sort of getting a better grasp of this mission. And it is a mission because, I get up and every day I can't wait to get to this. And that's the thing. So we have the readings. Ezekiel, again, we're back to Ezekiel, the bread guy. He says, and everybody's saying, like, life, God's not fair, life's not fair. How many times do you hear this? Something bad happens, and what kind of God can let this happen or that happen? And so Ezekiel's saying, like little toddlers are like that, right? You tell them it's bedtime now, you gotta go to bed. I tell myself this because I would stay up all night, and I do stay up all night. But eventually I know I'm going to get tired and I'm not going to feel good. So I have an inner adult now, to discipline my inner child. See how that works? But it's the same kind of thing where God's like our parent, and you're saying, you're throwing a temper tantrum, right? When you say God's not fair. No. God knows what's best for us because he made us, And so you're down here, it's on you. It's on us to figure out what variety of being are we, right? What's your design? What's your, and I like human design for this. I've just gotten into that big way, as well as astrology. But I'm not so much into the stars like people told me. As far as like a weather report, although, it's interesting to see the trends and things that are, happening because you can plan stuff, you know? You can say, that's what's coming down the pike. But for me, it's interesting to look at my chart to see where I started out. What am I dealing with here? What kind of being? that's kind of how Zazoo Plazz came about. I collected my stories. I did research. You gotta delve. Nobody's gonna hand you I gotta say, my husband. He's one of those guys, and maybe all men are like this, but maybe not. He's one of those guys who he buys something, right? It comes with a little manual. Well, and at least in the old days it did. Now it's online or whatever. But my husband is the guy who sits down with a cup of coffee and the manual and looks forward to reading the darn manual. And he's like, oh, you gotta read the manual. Like John Pinette used to say, nay, nay, nay. Nay, nay. Nay, nay. Get that thing away from me. I don't care. I look at the diagram. Okay, that's how it works. This goes here. And if it breaks, I know who to ask. Because he knows where every little part goes, and he's the one who keeps all the damn replacement things. He has a whole bin. And then, his workshop is full of all these little things, all these little replacement parts. And it's like my mom, and my grandmother. My dad's mom was a seamstress. She used to make, sew things. Very talented. She used to make, like, gowns for fancy rich people, like couture gowns, back in the, whatever. She was born in 1902. So, she made them throughout her 20s through probably her 50s. She made clothes for people. She was amazingly talented. I did not inherit that gene. So, just to say, but I don't have that much patience. But I did like, as a little girl, I'd go and look. She had a big, one of those cookie tins full of buttons. And my mom had, a little one, and my meme had one. Every woman worth her salt had a button tin. And, that's where all those little things would go, and I would play with the buttons, and it was fun. Kind of like my marble collection. We kids back then, we didn't have Game Boys. We didn't have, those things our kids had. We go visit our grandparents. You would look for things to do. They'd say, here's your button, here's a button tin. And I'd take the buttons out and I'd play with them, and I'd look at the pretty buttons and I'd sort them by size, and I'd play with, and invent little games. I don't know, I would play for hours, and then, there would be a trunk full of like old costume jewelry, and I'd clip them on, because they had clip-ons back then, My grandmother wore clip-ons, and my mother did for a while, and then she got her ears pierced, Both of us had our ears pierced, but, my mother, they wore clip-ons in the 40s, 50s, I don't know, 60s. Mom didn't get her ears pierced till probably early 70s, I don't know, mid-70s. But, yeah, that was a thing. So there were all these, so I would put the jewelry on and, put the high heels and go prance around, look in the mirror with the scarves, and play dress up. We played dress up in our, mother's, grandmother's closet. I mean, shoot, I even put my dad's clothes on something, like I'd wear one of my dad's shirts. If I had an art project at school, teacher would say, bring in one of your dad's old shirts to put on over your clothes to do art. So I had an old denim shirt for my dad, roll up the sleeves. I like men's clothes. I used to wear them. When I was pregnant with both my sons, I saved money by I'd take a pair of my husband's, workout shorts, and it's bigger than me, but take the drawstring and like knot them and throw on an old, it's one of his t-shirts. And then I didn't have to, buy a lot of clothes. I work out in that. Whatever. And then today they gotta have, whatever. I did go to they had a maternity shop at the mall. I used to go there, and I got some nice things. We took a trip with my first son before he was born. When I was pregnant, we went to Las Vegas, so I bought some nice things for that. I had a cool, like, fishy swimsuit. Some of those clothes were better than my regular clothes. I'm like, Then I lost all the weight and I couldn't wear any. Then I had to go back to my regular clothes. Whatever. What was I talking? Oh, humor, folks. Ezekiel, right? Life's not fair. So you find those things. What they call sins are really things we're not aware of about ourselves that cause us to, do things that hurt us because we're not acting in our most natural flow state, right? So they call that sins, and it just became this big guilt thing, which certain institutions, I think, have used to, as a means of guiding people in the direction they want them to go. But anyway, yeah, so, I've taken that word out of my vocabulary. I don't think sin is a good word to use anymore. I think it's just unconsciousness, But as you become more conscious of your design, of yourself, what makes you tick, what makes you special, different, because we all have our thing, Life improves. That's how life gets better. So it's only unfair if you're perceiving it that way, right? If you take responsibility for the things that happen. You can't do anything about the government shutting down or the weather or but I think you can do something about the environment. I mean, just acting in responsible ways. If everybody did that, then we'd have a much healthier planet to live on, I think. So this psalm comes up about mercy, about, God being merciful. And that's kind of been a theme. So you've got, God's not fair, and then you have God is merciful, right? So they harmonize because it's an attitude shift, right? You say that God is merciful, and you have that attitude. Like, essentially, life is good, right? And you're looking out, and you're saying you're expecting life to be good and life to be fair, right? And fairness, now that we're in Libra season, it's all about the scales. Libra is the scales, lady, justice. It's not a woman, really. It's sort of an object, scales, the legal system, right? Justice, the scales, and it's us and the other, right? And it's what's fair is kind of a subjective thing, right? What do I think is fair based on my experience in life? Everybody's going to have a different, we have rules, we have laws for society to function, but I think when it comes to divine justice, it's sort of like, like Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Realize that everyone is here to make a contribution, right? Everyone's here to pursue their, their life's goals, their what they're here for, their highest purpose. And if you know that everybody else out there is here to pursue their highest purpose, and they're trying, then you can see their mistakes. You can see that and become aware that you also have mistakes, and my mistakes are different from yours, and they're not better or worse. They're just, a different way of expressing energy. And have a sense of humor, I guess. So so I said, oh, so I said the word mercy, and I thought, oh my God, mercy, mercy me, right? And but the version I thought of was from 1990, Robert Palmer, who passed away September 26th, 20 years ago, 2003. So it's calling to me, Robert Palmer. I'm gonna turn on my little thing here. Yeah, I love Robert Palmer. And if you think that all he did was dance in a suit with girls behind him, that was him too. But he he also made he covered this song by two songs by Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye did these songs, Mercy, 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 Mercy Me, and I Want You. So Mercy, Mercy Me was released in 1971. So I was like 6 when that came out. It was called the Ecology. So 1970, 71, that's when they, all of a sudden the Environmental Protection Agency was formed. That's when there's, you kids who were born maybe around 70, you don't remember this. But, we, the crying Native American in the canoe commercial, we were 5, 6-year-olds when this was, and those of us born before 70, we remember that commercial, and it touched us deeply. The boomers, not so much. The boomers were out there, doing their thing. But we felt it deeply because Pluto and Virgo generation, from roughly the people born in the 60s and very early 70s, till about 71, maybe 72, early 72, I don't know. It was back and forth for a while, and then it went into Libra. But we have the Pluto and Virgo generation, especially those of us born in the 65, 66, 67, in that area. We feel this intensely. We feel we have a duty to, make the world aware of, health issues, the environment, and, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, all of the health issues, because Virgo is health. So we're looking for a better way than what exists. We're constantly looking for something better. So this song comes out in the middle of, when we're 5, 6 years old. We're in kindergarten. I'm in kindergarten. Whatever, first grade. I vaguely remember the Marvin Gaye that he did it, but I think the version I remember sticks in my head is the Robert Palmer one. That was 1990. I was 25 when that 90, late 90. I was 25, going on 26. So Marvin Gaye's song got to number 4. Let's see, on the Billboard Pop, and number 1 on the R&B in August, mid to late August, August 71. So yeah, I was 5. From his album, What's Going On? What's Going On? I remember that song. So Robert Palmer decides, 1990, that he's going to do a cover, but he did a medley of the two songs, I Want You and Mercy, Mercy, which turned out to be great. And, it had a certain vibe. Robert Palmer had a great voice for that. It was kind of that R&B. Things ain't what they used to be. Oh, mercy, mercy. And he goes on, he's singing about the environment, and the oil, radiation and things like that, Mother Earth. And then he's talking about, I want you. It's sort of like, kind of moving away from just this, it's sort of toward a, if you think of it from a higher perspective, it's God wanting to have a relationship with us. But, he doesn't want to force, we have to come to him, right? We have to want to be in this, to get to know our true selves. that God wants us to live in that way. He wants us to live on a nice planet. That's, he doesn't want us to live in a crappy planet with stuff, oil all over the place and, taking advantage of the Earth's resources for our own personal gain. He wants us to use the planet, the beautiful resources for everyone's good. So he's looking to us and saying, well, and there's, it's a different kind of Robert Palmer video, none of this, the models pretending to play guitars stuff, none of that. It's just Robert Palmer in like little Polaroid pictures singing. It's kind of poignant, it's very poignant. I guess that's the word. It's poignant pop. I like poignant. Poignant has a purpose, sometimes. So, it's kind of like, he's kind of like your parent who's, a good parent who's like, well, he's not behaving well right now, but I'm just going to let him cry himself, get it out of his system, and then, he'll come around. He's saying he doesn't, it's like, and that's the gospel, the two sons, one of them it's like the guy has two sons, like my husband has, two sons like we have. Go mow the lawn. The first one says, oh, I'll be right out there. And then he goes and he's playing his video game or something, and he never goes. And the other one's like, I don't want to do it. And then he's the one actually out there mowing the lawn. Somebody's mowing the lawn over there. You see that? Well, it's kind of an analogy. Like, we got two sons, and Jesus used parables to, kind of like we tell little stories so that people can relate, right? And we update the stories for the times. That's what Jesus did, And that's why he was saying, like, you got the one kid who's all preppy and perfect, who says he's going to mow the lawn, but he goes off, takes off, and, goes off with his friends and doesn't do it. And the other one who's got the tattoos and the piercings and everything, he's out there mowing the lawn, even though he said, no. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Whatever. Mercy, mercy me. Anyway. So, yeah. So that's kind of like where I'm coming from today. I hope, it's a good time though, and every day you find something to be happy about. You can always find something to be thankful for or happy about. Like I made a nice, chicken chili last night. It's like a buffalo hot sauce chicken chili, and I put like, blue cheese dressing on it with a little Greek yogurt, mix it up. So you got chunks of blue cheese, put that in there, get some chips, some salsa. It's good. I got over my cold. It still hung on for a few days, but I'm feeling a lot better. So, I'm just enjoying being out here at dusk. There's a couple of stray mosquitoes, but, it's nice. Found myself a nice little spot here. Something rustling in the woods. My husband's out cleaning up his mother's house again. Still getting ready to sell it. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna go and have my chicken chili, and got my Halloween toil and trouble bubble shirt on here. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get away from these bugs. And until next week, have mercy. And I want you to have a good week. Go out and do your thing. Show up and do your thing. Have fun. Enjoy. And I'll see you next week for another Zazoo Plazz report. Bye-bye.